Great taste. Sweet. Sour. So good the taste.
Welcome to Great Taste on KRUU 100.1 FM, the solar-powered voice of Fairfield, Iowa. I'm Steve Boss, your host every week for 60 minutes of delicious radio on KRUU, once every month. The first Tuesday of every month, we're at Green Building Supply, where we do a live show, and that's where we are right now. And actually, this show is designed to get you into the new year in the right position for the best possible health that you can expect. Because if you listen to what these great people are going to talk about on this show, you're going to have some great tips for 2018 to be a year of very, very healthy year and a lot of fun too. So I'm looking forward to it. So let's get right into it right now. I want to introduce Dr. Dinesh Gyawali. And hi.
Hi, Steve.
Nice to see you as usual, and really excited because what you're going to do is you're going to teach us how to make a very simple dish that has tremendous health benefits.
Exactly. Firstly, thank you for having me here, and Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, I'm going to make a very simple Ayurvedic fast food, I call it. I'm not a cook. I'm an Ayurvedic. I happen to be an Ayurvedic doctor.
Right, and then I'm going to stop you for 1 second because I actually because
No.
I said somebody asked me who was going to be on the show, right? And I said, "Oh, Dr. Dinesh is going to be on," and they said, "Well, I've never eaten his food, but I've had his wife's food, and she's a great cook." So I said that to you. I said, "Hey, I heard your wife's a great cook. I don't know, maybe she should be on the show." And you said, "Yes, she is a great cook, but I'm the Vaidya. I'm the physician." Right.
Really, yeah, because when I'm a little nervous because I hope my wife sees this too, because this dish what I'm going to make it today is actually she does it every single day. We have a 3-year-old son that you have met, and we cook this meal for him. That's his biggest lunch and his big chubby boy, and everyone asks us, what do you feed to your son? And this is what we feed to our 3-year-old son, and this is about, especially the kids also have slow digestion. They need to absorb all the ingredients that you put in your food. So are we, especially those who have a poor digestion, or we are going to detox ourselves. We do not want our digestive system to have a lot of pressure to digest the food. So now that the festivals are over, almost over, we now probably some of us want to detox or shed some pounds.
Really? I mean, did anybody get carried away over the holidays? I mean, no, right? No, nobody here did. So I'm just going to let you know.
Fine, that's okay. So this particular food is, some people call it Ayurvedic superfood, and to me is the Ayurvedic fast food, which does not take a long time. And it can be a very nice lunch, and people can take it to work. It can be done in various ways. I wanted to do this and share my perspective on this because a lot of us here in this town want to eat this kind of food, but we really do not know the tricks. Like many times Indian cooking seems like a very exotic, unique spices, different kind of smells and all that, but I'm trying to simplify this as much as possible, and I don't have a masala dabba here, which means a lot of spice box. I have just few spices, and we are making a detox tea. Sometimes I call it ama tea. Ama is a term detox for toxin in Ayurveda. And I'm making khichdi. Khichdi is the Ayurvedic superfood, a good balance of rice, pulses, and vegetables. And I'm going to show how easy it is to make a khichdi. It doesn't take hours, or you can take this recipe just to cook dal also, the lentil soup, where people spend a lot of time and they are just frustrated. Oh, it takes a long time. I know Ayurvedic food is good, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of attention, and you cannot measure it. It's not that. It's really simple, and that is why I wanted to show how to do this. And you're right, my wife cooks it every single day, and I'm a little nervous by the fact that she does it in a perfect way. So I had to make it show it to me today, this morning. Oh, how do you cook it? How, like, just to get a heads up. So I'll try my best.
I think it's going to be great. Now, I wanted to ask you, is khichdi a term that means a lot of different things in different regions of India, or is it really just the specific preparation that you're going to show us?
It is a very common term in India, especially khichdi can be of different types and different variations. But there are some staples, like every khichdi has to have rice. Normally, we use basmati rice, not the jasmine or the other kind of rice. We use old grain basmati rice, and khichdi has to have a protein source, lentils, and the lentil could be of any types. But since Ayurvedic, categories of the pulses considers mung dal as the best kind of dal for the digestion and everything. So we normally use mung dal, but you can use all kind of lentils, red beans, pinto beans, and all kind of beans in this mixture. So khichdi is a very common term in India, and there can be all kind of khichdi's, spicy one, or as per the taste, and a very soupy one, or texture-wise, taste-wise, and we can even make dosa-wise khichdi. If you are a vata predominant or a pitta predominant, I'm assuming some of you know what vata, pitta, kapha these dosas are. They are three biological humors which Ayurveda considers that govern our physiology. So it's really simple, and it can be really complex also. But we are talking about the day-to-day thing here. What I feed to my son, what I fed this morning as a lunch, that's what we are going to do it here.
Okay, so this is all very fascinating, and I'm very excited for you to show us how to do this, and also the Ayurvedic tonic, I'll call it, right?
Yeah, the detox tea, let's call it that way. It's common as a detox tea. I'm having their boiling water, so I'll also first put some spices, and by the time I make the khichdi or cook the khichdi and let it simmer, the detox tea will almost be ready, and we can enjoy it while we are cooking also.
Okay, so tell us exactly what we need to, what you're going to do here.
What we are going to do here, as I said, I'm having a boiling water there. The water is being boiled, and I'm using 3 different spices. They are whole spices, and because I did not bring thermos over here, it would be much easier in thermos. So what you can do for this detox tea, which helps in your digestion and which helps cleanse your body in a way, and it's a very good drink for kindling your digestive fire and getting rid of excess pitta, the excess fire from your body, and does all kind of good things. These 3 spices, basically cumin, coriander, and fennel seeds. I'm using whole seeds. You can see here fennel seeds, coriander seeds, and cumin seeds. So these go in this boiling water here, which actually do not need to be boiled.
That doesn't need to be that high?
So we can just reduce it to 2 now.
Okay.
That is because what I needed was hot boiling water, and now that it is already boiled, so you boil the water first thing in your boiler kettle and put it in the thermos, and in that thermos you put 1 teaspoonful. I'm roughly assuming because we have a big amount of water here. So this is fennel tea, fennel seeds. This is coriander seeds, and these are cumin seeds. Okay, so these are the main ingredients. They need to be just cooked for a little bit, cooked in a sense. In the thermos, you turn on the lid, then it will be cooked. So
in about how much time?
What I suggest to my clients, my patients, is you have the boiling water, put equal amounts of cumin, coriander, and fennel seeds, and sip it throughout the day. Okay. Do not bother about the seeds. You can actually strain the seeds. Once the seeds are cooked, they puffed up and they settle down on the bottom. If you don't like the seeds, you can strain it. Some people put the seeds in the tea bags also, so that you just get the feeling. And on top, you can add things like, now let's add this ginger. I have freshly chopped ginger. So it is all to kindle the sluggish digestion and pacify the. So I have put the chopped ginger as well.
And so are we using, for a thermos,
Yeah,
we're using 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, whole coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of whole cumin seeds, and 1 teaspoon of whole fennel
let's
seeds?
say not 1/2, but equal amount. Say half teaspoonful of coriander, half teaspoonful of fennel, half teaspoonful of cumin seeds.
Okay.
And you can have a fresh grated ginger, and we'll ask them to do with a. We can squeeze a lemon for the taste afterwards when you serve it, but we are talking about simplifying Ayurvedic tips. So in simple terms, you just can have the cumin, coriander, fennel seeds, water, and sip it throughout the day, and that gives the detoxifying effect.
Okay, and that is good for any body type?
Any body type in general. We can actually there are recipes like you can put some other herbs also. You can have sarsaparilla root, you can have an herb called mangista, you can have all kind of herbs also in there, and that makes a kind of decoction that is more of a therapeutic purpose. But for a normal household, in a general concept, you use fennel, cumin, coriander tea. It is used widely, it is getting popular. It can help you to lose some weight, detoxify your channels, and everything. Helps kindling the digestive fire. So that's what it does, and it will be ready in a couple of minutes.
And just sip it throughout the day?
Yes, sip it throughout the day. And you can add a special salt. This is kala namak, they call it. It's a black salt, and it has a very good unique taste. Some people may not like it, so I'm hesitant to put it out there.
It.
So you can add pinch in your tea. It is a vata pacifier. It pacifies the vata dosa, which means the air quality, especially during winter. And you can all the other vata pacifying spices also. And if this is also a lot of work, what you can do is have the boiling water, and in the health and wholeness store, MAPI store, they have mixture of all these 3 seeds. They call it detox tea. Or else you can buy vata, pitta, kapha, different types of spice mixes. Just out of that mixer, take 1 teaspoonful. That also works.
I think this is pretty simple. I think
It
most
is
people
very
can
simple.
do
Yeah,
that. And one of the things that I want to mention is that when you've been on the show before,
Yep.
I had asked you a question once. I said, let's just say that people, because everyone thinks that they're so busy that they have very little time to spend on trying to keep themselves healthy. And I said, if you had to say one thing that people could do for themselves, that would be to sip hot water throughout the day.
Exactly. Sip hot water throughout the day is the only. If this is complicated, then just hot water throughout the day. And to those who have a little bit of energy, first thing in the morning, drink a whole lot of warm water, like a gulping water. If you can, put half squeezed lemon and 1 teaspoonful of honey, provided that the water is not too hot, just warm water. We are talking about just warmer than the room temperature water. Drink plenty of warm water first thing in the morning. What that does is that helps the cleansing of the body. Just like how we need water to wash our clothes, it's just like to wash our intestines. Every single day, our bowels should be clean, and it works as a natural laxative. While we are talking about food, we shouldn't be talking about those stuffs, but that is very important. One thing you can do every single day is drink plenty of warm water first thing in the morning, and that's what your day should start with.
Okay, now I have to say, I have to put this in here because you, I know, have seen this you've been in the States now for a number of years, and you must know that wherever you go, when you go out to eat in the States, the first thing that hits the table
is the ice water. I can't imagine how people drink it, but it's the bitter truth. Never ever do that. Never ever. It's just like you are getting a good gourmet food, good sizzler or just like mouth-watering food, but on side while you are supposed to have a good kindling, good environment for the intestine, for the stomach to be able to digest that cheesy or meaty or all kind of food you are going to eat. while you are literally putting off the fire by dumping a lot of icy water. That's big no-no in Ayurvedic terms. And I guess that makes sense also, because you're putting a lot of icy cold water, which is not going to help with your digestion, and you end up having gassy stomach and indigestion and all that of problem.
I think maybe the hardest thing for people to understand is that you're basically, the information is the body heats the food in the digestive system. It's a fire.
It's just like this fire that we are cooking food. Exactly similar kind of fire is inside our body. And if you want to make it more, scientific, sound more scientific, it's just like acid going on in our stomach. And when you put the water, and especially icy cold water, that acid will be diluted, and it's now no more able to help with the digestion. And exactly like this fire, you are putting off the fire by pouring ice cold water. If you cannot do hot water, then fine, just do room temperature water, but never do icy cold. Never put ice on especially in summer. You are allowed, have some drinks this and here and there, but never. And another big thing is, don't drink a lot of water during meals, an hour before and hour after meals. No, it's just like that putting down the fire thing. You are not allowed, you are not suggested to drink a whole lot of water right before and right after meals. You can sip a little bit of water to help with the movement, the peristalsis movement. That will literally help with the digestion, the forming the bolus of the food and all that. There is a beautiful, and we probably have brought this about in the show before, that there is a verse which says about the same water, if you drink before meal and after meals, it becomes poison. And the same water, when you drink it during meals, is a medicine. Little bit. Just sipping, just to help with the, eating process. And eating is a very holy process. And I have a couple of blogs in mapi.com where I talk about, it's not what we eat, it's how we eat. The whole concept of saying the grace is about inducing your digestive system and keeping quiet, not talking, and not preventing choking and things like those. And you have to be present during the meal times, and you have to help the digestive system. Oh, the juice is going to come, this food is well prepared. Not talk about some fun stuffs or some serious stuffs in the dining table. But unfortunately, the reality is, when we have to talk, we sit down in the dining table. That's the bitter reality. But while eating the food, we should be keeping quiet, and we should be, that's the whole idea of saying the grace. You are literally thankful to the Almighty, whatever gods you have, and just be thankful. And every culture in this world has that ritual or ritual of saying the grace. To be thankful means you are literally preparing your body for digestion.
All right.
I think now we have had enough talk here. So our tea is almost ready. We can serve it. We'll need the strainer for the tea, I guess, because it hasn't gotten enough time to get the seeds, but it's boiling. So do
you want me to turn it off?
It doesn't have to be, but
right. We'll leave it on then. It's fine.
It's just warm.
Okay.
And by the time I start this, then I have this pressure cooker. This is a unique vessel. As a preparation for this show, I looked online about the different choices of pressure cooker, and this one particularly is a traditional Indian style pressure cooker. I remember Steve saying Ayurveda did not talk about pressure cookers, did it? So
wait, I want to just say,
go ahead.
So I said to Dinesh, I said, pressure cooker, huh? Cooking food in a pressure cooker. I didn't think that was very Ayurvedic, and I'm glad you brought this up, because I loved his response, about this.
Go ahead.
No, you tell. Well, it was basically, I don't remember Ayurveda talking about gas cooking. I don't remember Ayurveda talking about electric cooking, but we still do that, because
we just don't have to flavor everything by saying, oh, this is Ayurvedic or not. It's the reality of the time. You cannot go fetch the firewood and come cook. We cannot cook in the mud or the pot pottery that's infeasible. It's not possible at this age. We have to try to be healthy or Ayurvedic as in whatever way we can. So this is a Indian style pressure cooker. In the market, you can get all kinds of pressure cooker, sophisticated electric pressure cooker. So I'm not very used to with those kinds, but this is more of a traditional, and it is a little tricky, but it is so easy, especially those who are fond of dal, who want to cook lentil soup, pulse soup every day. This is the easiest way. So we can count on time. We are past 20 minutes now. Now that I start, by 15 minutes from now, it should be ready. So that is why I call it the easiest fast food, Ayurvedic. Yeah, healthy, yet it takes 20 minutes at least to drive, you go to the McDonald's and get a burger or things like that. But if you are very time efficient and worried about your time, and of course, if you are more concerned about your health, then it's very easy, simple. That is why I chose. Otherwise, I'm not a cook, and
I would just want to make sure you weren't talking that you go out to McDonald's and get it.
No, of course not. Well,
I'm just kidding you.
Yeah.
But the point is that I just want to throw something else in though. Because I think for people who have busy lifestyles, of course, pressure cookers is a terrific way to minimize the time, right?
It is.
But some of us actually, and I'm talking about myself, and I know plenty of other people, we love the process of cooking itself. It's the process is one of the things that intrigues us a lot. So I do make dal. I made dal today, for example.
Yes.
But the way that I like to make it is I start it in a regular pot just like this, and I skim the foam off the top, and then I pour it into this clay pot, because I love cooking in clay.
Exactly.
Because I think it's really, I don't know, there's something about it. What's the right word? Earthy. It just feels good, to cook in clay. And then I put it in this clay pot and let it cook for a couple of hours, and then it's just, to me, that's wonderful. So I think this is great, especially for people who need the time. But I think that sometimes the process is also lovely too, to be able to.
Is indeed. Well, in the holidays, it's winter, so you must have enjoyed cooking, taking hours to cook dal, but for me, it's a lot. And I'm fond of cooking too. I'm fond of eating and cooking both. So I'm pretty sure once that you know about this, or unless you really don't have time, cooking dal can also be easy. It can be done at least within half an hour. So it doesn't take hours. So the process of while you're talking about enjoyment, you can make it fanciful. While what I'm doing here is very simple. I haven't done any seeds here, no mustard seed, no bay leaves, nothing. Can you?
So
see
you're not
it's
making
not
you're not making a tadka then.
it's
The spice
not,
mixture.
Yeah, it's not no tadka at all. It's nothing like exotic Indian. It is very simple. That is what I wanted to show.
Okay.
Because many times when we talk about, it's not like going to Indian restaurant, and you don't expect that kind of flavor in a day-to-day house cooking, especially this simple cooking. Here is nothing to think about. So neither I have a masala dabba here, nor I'm making a tadka, nor I have a bay leaf, nor I'm putting onion or ginger, or onion, or not even ginger. I don't have ginger here.
You just used it all.
No, that's for the tea, not for
Right,
this one.
right.
Not for the big meal.
Okay.
I'm not using garlic, onion, ginger, whatever the usual spice is.
Yeah, all the bay
bay
and
leaves
curry leaves.
Exactly. Nothing is here. So you just need three spices, let's say, 4 spices including salt. So here are 3. Cumin powder, and I'm not using the seeds also. Seeds we have already there. And when you want that foods, not everybody likes the seeds. They do not really cook well, the seeds. They do not always cook well.
So what are the spices? We have cumin,
Coriander and turmeric. That's it.
cumin, coriander, and turmeric.
Yeah, and I just put...
I did notice that. That's a healthy amount.
Yeah, tablespoonful of, because we are making a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a lot.
That's ghee.
Yeah, that's ghee. For those who don't know what ghee is, it's a clarified butter, and it does the trick, and it gives the taste. So I'm not using any spices. So I put, that would be good. It has to, be tasty also.
I agree with you completely.
So-
Yeah, you won't get me to to argue about that. That looks lovely.
So here we have the ghee. I'm just heating up the ghee. And as you could see, I was just explaining, I have 3 spices: cumin seed powder, ground cumin, ground coriander, and turmeric, just for the texture also. And turmeric is actually a very good Ayurvedic tonic. Spice, as let's say, not a tonic, is antibacterial, anti-malarial, anti all kind of things. Turmeric is the best anti-allergic you could have. Those who have sniffle nose, especially during winter, runny nose and all that things, turmeric can do a lot of tricks. So that is why almost every Indian dish has a turmeric. And because this says we don't put turmeric in rice, sometimes we do. That's like kesar, the what do you call it, kesar? The scientific name is Meshuafera.
I don't know.
Kesar, saffron.
Saffron.
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we use saffron sometimes. That's the yellowness in the rice. But this recipe is really simple.
Okay.
I'm just using 3 spices: cumin powder, coriander powder, and turmeric, and salt as needed. As I mentioned, I have no ginger garlic paste, no onion, no nothing. So what we are going to do is, this pressure cooker is almost heating the ghee, and I'm just raising the temperature over here. And I'm going to use these vegetables. So, sorry.
That's right.
So this is the soaked mung dal and basmati rice.
Now, that's split mung. Is that right?
Split mung, yeah, it's not the whole, but you can use any kind of dal. If you are, like fairly healthy and you don't need to detoxify, but you just want to enjoy this good portion of carbohydrate, protein, and vitamins and minerals, all that. So what I'm doing here is using all these ingredients. Look how colorful this looks.
It's beautiful.
And that's what I do my wife does every day at home. Of course, a very small portion of it. But this is what we are going to put in this pot. Easy, no shimmering, no frying, no nothing. And in 15-20 minutes, you are done.
So we have split mung dal, we have fresh spinach, we have carrot, we have zucchini.
And this is actually not for, you can
Right.
add it later on. It's not for this.
And would you use different vegetables also or not?
You can use any vegetable. You can use any vegetable, any dal. You just have to have dal and rice, the pulses and rice. And vegetable, any broccoli, squash, anything you can use.
Okay.
So
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I forgot to mention. This is a mix of split mung dal and basmati rice.
exactly. I just soaked it half an hour before, and it should be good.
Is that important to soak
It
it?
is important to soak because it saves the time. So it saves the time for those who are rushing to work. First thing in the morning, you just soak the rice and dal and chop some veggies, dump it in the pressure cooker, let it cook. By the time you do other stuffs, your lunch is ready or your breakfast is ready.
Now, can you actually? I've heard that some people actually cook this in a thermos overnight.
It does, and I personally don't like that part of cooking, because no matter how well it cooks in the thermos, in slow cooker it cooks very well, but slow cooker takes time. You are going off to work, so you did turn in the thing and you went to work and come back for lunch. That time it will be ready. So slow cooker works pretty well. So I love it. So but thermos glass, I've seen people literally eating uncooked food, and it's like rice and beans. It's not uncooked, then it's not really good. And here in this particular one, you don't necessarily crave for the bite. You are not chewing food, basically. It's more of a subtle food for good digestion. You cannot look for, oh, I want this crunchy, this, and no, it's mushy. It's really mushy. That is why I also don't eat it every day, because I want rice, dal, and vegetable cooked separately. But once you are trying to purify or detoxify, and especially for the elderly and the kids, it's a good portion. And if your kid is not up to vegetables, then it's a good way to introduce vegetable in your kid's meal.
Okay. So you're going to you've melted the ghee, and then what's the order that you're going to put these in?
No order at all. You literally can dump everything in here. No technique, no tool. As I mentioned, just simple. You can dump everything in here. Let's see. I guess this is cumin powder. I'm just trying to see how much the heat is there, and you can see I'm just guessing, and I hope it works well.
We can turn it up.
No, it's on.
Okay.
So, and here is the turmeric, and I'm literally, you can say fry it. You can put, actually, you can chop some garlic cloves and just chop it and fry it, or onion, or any, like bay leaves, anything.
You want to make it a little bit more tasty.
More tastier. But this also doesn't taste bad.
Okay. Well, I hope not.
Tastes okay. Yeah, I hope not. Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll have to talk to your wife.
Yeah, sure. So it's not, I guess it's not hot enough.
Okay.
So
We'll get it hotter. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's that electric stove, it's not like a real wood fire.
And this actually is, this actually is ready. We can start serving it with,
Well, we'll do that when we'll serve it with our meal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so are there any proportions? Is it 1-to-1 as far as the split
Yes.
mung and the rice?
Exactly. Thank you for bringing it out. The rice and beans, the rice and pulses have to be 1-to-1. Those who want to introduce more protein than carbohydrates can go with more dal and less rice. That's what we do with our kid. We have more dal and less rices. So just a handful of rice and 2 handfuls of dal. Yeah.
I'm going to let you continue
Sure.
with this,
yep.
and we're going to talk about another dish, and then we'll come back to you,
Sure.
and it'll probably be finished by then.
Yep. I hope so.
Okay, very exciting. All right, Alura, can you come over? That would be great. This is Alura Anderson, and we are going to watch how to make another very simple and quick meal.
I'm really about veganism these days. I've worked my steps. I'm to vegan, so to start off the new year, I would strongly suggest everyone lowering the amount of mucus you're eating. Mucus is the #1 cause of disease. In fact, it's the only cause of disease. But there's also alkalinity issues too, so you want to stay alkaline as much as possible. Today I'm going to show you a simple meal. You can grab things in your grocery store, or you can make them at home if you're like me, but I wanted to do something really fast for you guys today. If you are making an acidic meal using tomatoes like this, it's really important to have a big salad. So I didn't bring the salad to show you guys, but always have a big salad before every meal. So we're going to just start this out.
Okay.
So what I've done already for everybody is I blended 2 cans of organic black beans. I actually prefer garbanzo beans. They're a lot lower in phytic acid. And he didn't talk about phytic acid, but in beans, nuts, seeds, and grains, there is phytic acid, and this steals our precious minerals. It steals our zinc, our iron, our magnesium, and calcium. So if you're not soaking your beans and grains, you want to choose something that has a lower amount of phytic acid, or even take an enzyme that's phytase that eats up the phytic acid. And so in this case, I used black beans, but I normally would use garbanzo beans because they're very low in phytic acid. But today, we're going to use black beans. So 2 cans of black beans.
They've been soaking for a long time in the liquid.
Well, I bought them in a can. So we have 2 cans of black beans strained and rinsed, and then blended with a little bit of reverse osmosis water, which is free of toxins, which is another very important thing. Bringing in your water is very important. Let's all stay on reverse osmosis as much as possible, and make sure, again, you're eating a lot more alkaline food to cleanse the body out. But okay, so we got the 2 cans of beans. We're gonna go ahead and add it into, I've already started heating up some reverse osmosis water here to thin everything out. You can kind of add as much water as you need to get the consistency that you're looking for. So.
By the way, we're making chili, right?
Yes. We're making vegan chili. I didn't mention that, I guess. It's one of my specialties and one of my all-time favorites, especially the kids. They can't get enough of it, so it's always a winner. So here we go. We have the blended black beans, pureed in a Vitamix, which is my go-to for everything. I don't think I could live without it at this point. And then I kind of cheated today, and I made, you guys didn't see me make it, but I made my chili non-queso, and it basically just has a can of, or a jar of any type of salsa, organic is the best. And then I blended up soaked and sprouted and blanched almonds, and then fermented sunflower seeds with a little bit of turmeric, paprika, onion powder. And that's pretty much, and cayenne if you want it a little extra spicy. I left that out this time. But the salt.
We have a way to make it extra spicy. Dan Gorman's here, and he'll tell us about that.
So if you are at home and you want to make your chili a little spicier, just get a can of salsa or a jar of salsa. Preferably, cans are actually full of other chemicals. I stick with glass as much as possible. And then I'm going to go ahead and add that now in. And there's no particular order, just like he said over there.
This is very easy. Everybody's making easy foods for people.
You know, you got to feed your family fast, and you want everything to be simple. I'll talk about this little mixture I have here first. So we have flax seeds, which are also very low in phytic acid. And I went ahead and grounded them up into a fine powder. And then I added a teaspoon of Celtic sea salt. And Celtic sea salt is the only salt I would suggest anyone eating because they've tested the sea salts for plastics. And Celtic sea salt, it has to be from France. It's a pristine area. They don't let boats in there. They're constantly testing, but it's the only one that has not come up with the toxicity of plastics that are out there now. So we really need to start protecting ourselves as much as we can. So I only used a teaspoon of salt because the salsa had some salt, and then I will be adding some pasta sauce in a minute, and that is salt. And then I added some oregano, probably about it was 1 teaspoon of oregano, and then 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of savory, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of onion powder. Some people aren't into onions, but they're very alkalizing. So I don't eat garlic as much, so I always choose to use a lot of onion powder instead.
And by the way, if you want summer savory, you're going to have to find it somewhere else because we can't find it in this town. So but it's not necessary, right?
No, I love it though. It's very savory. The word, it just makes things taste amazing. The savory though, I order by the pound. So I have lots at home, and that's what I suggest you do anyways. It's cheaper. So I'm going to just go ahead and slowly add that in there after we kind of stir a little bit. Excuse me. And you want to sprinkle this stuff in just so it doesn't clump up. I don't mind the clumps, but, you know, everyone's different. I mean, I can literally just drink dandelion greens mixed with a little water, so it doesn't bother me much. Oh, one other thing I forgot to say is...
I'm looking at your husband right now, and he's nodding his head. Yeah, she can.
Okay. Another thing I did not mention that is in here is actually bladderwrack that comes from the sea. It is amazing. It removes radiation from the body and provides the body with the essential minerals that our body needs. Our body mainly runs on minerals. And the good thing about minerals is no matter how much you cook it, the minerals aren't going to leave. So you can even eat something that's burnt and still get the minerals that you need, whereas vitamins might cook out, but the minerals are more important anyway.
And what was this?
Just minerals and bladderwrack. Bladderwrack, which unfortunately you can't get in stores either, unless you order, at least here in town, but you can order it online.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're just basically stirring in this spice mixture, urban spice mixture.
The flax seeds. The flax seeds tend to bulk it up and add a meaty type texture to it, and then with the beans in there, it also thickens it up really well.
I'm also watching what's going on over here, where Dinesh is basically stuffing this pressure cooker.
Everything. I'm not sure how it will work out, but yes. So help me God.
This is great.
I haven't made this big amount of khichdi because we had to be considerate of. So we'll
see. We'll see how it goes.
So the next thing I'm going to add, since it's right next to me, and you can quickly buy this is tomato basil sauce. The number one thing you want to look for when you're buying anything at the supermarket is these two labels, and you want them together, not separate. You want a USDA organic, and you also want the non-GMO verified. That way you're ensuring that chemicals aren't in there, because if it's non-GMO, it may not be GMO'd, but it could be sprayed with loads of chemicals. And then you also want USDA organic, because it also has to be organic. I mean, you can grow a non-GMO or a GMO'd seed organically, couldn't you?
Sure, why not?
Why not? So anyway, I always go with both. So we're adding one jar today of tomato. I don't want to get.
I'm stepping back.
I'll just one jar.
I didn't put my apron on, so.
I didn't either. Well, but I'm wearing gray, so. It's starting
So one jar of the tomato sauce.
I'm actually going to be adding 2 jars. I accidentally left one right behind me.
Okay. By the way, you're listening to Great Taste, or you might be watching it, because the Fairfield Media Center, Jason Strong, is always here the first Tuesday of every month and videoing this. I'm not sure whatever happens here. Sometimes it's a little crazy. And you can watch this show once a month at the Fairfield Media Center's YouTube station, right? YouTube channel, right? So you go to fairfieldmediacenter.com and you scroll down to live events and you click on that, and then you go to Great Taste, and that's where all the links are for the past shows too, right? Right. Okay, perfect. So thank you also for being here. And we want to also thank Green Building Supply, of course, who graciously allows us to utilize their facility once a month, and with Julie Stumo, who helps us out. Very, very tough job for her. Well, look, you got it. That's pretty good. You got recognized. And then, of course, everybody's Whole Foods, who lets me go in and do shopping every month for all these ingredients. So.
Yeah. So next we're going to add 2 cans of black beans. And of course, this is for a larger group of people. I'm making literally about 1.5 gallons right here of soup. So we're just going to add the black beans rinsed.
So everybody, you can adjust the proportions as you see for. So if you had 1 can of black beans, if you were doing it for, say, a small group, like 2 to 4 people, if you had 1 can of black beans, maybe a half to 3/4 of a jar. One jar to 2 cans of black beans. Perfect.
And then still 1 cup of flaxseed to kind of give it the bulk. You can slowly add it in and decide if you want more or less, because flax seeds have a lot of omega-3s in them and very little phytic acid, so you're not hurting your system, in my opinion, with them, but.
Unless you have something against flax seeds. So,
some people are sensitive to seeds.
Some people are just sensitive to superfoods, but we're not going to get into that right now.
So
that's just
I had my husband over here. He sauteed some onions, and sometimes we also throw in some mushrooms and other vegetables, like you can do peppers, and you can get really fun and do like nopal, the Mexican cactus.
I had
so good.
shiitake in there, right?
Oh.
Didn't I?
I didn't see any. It's okay. I didn't see any.
It was in the fridge.
Well, we had shiitake to add, but we did not. I am apologizing for that one. But it is really good. He'll have to saute that up tonight or tomorrow for something.
Okay. Okay, so that's looking really delicious.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
And basically you're just going to simmer it, huh?
And now that's exactly what we're doing. We're just warming it up, simmering it, letting it thicken up, and it's ready to go. And how long did that take us?
10 minutes.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I skipped a few steps, but in front of you guys.
I don't think there's much more. I mean, that's pretty easy. If you want to make it a little bit more, we'll say, I don't know if you want to say wholesome, you could make your own tomato sauce. You could soak your own beans and cook your own beans, all those kinds of things, right? And that would be even better. I would think that would be much more Ayurvedic to do that, right? Yeah, that's right.
What we prefer to do, because then you're not getting whatever they're putting in here. You can choose your own ingredients. I'm really particular on what I cook with. I don't like to even cook with olive oil. I prefer cooking with avocado oil or sesame oil.
All right, so one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to talk about the farmers market, the Fairfield Farmers Market, because there's a winter market. Everybody knows about the summer market.
Right.
And it's always tons of people at the summer market on Wednesdays and Saturdays, especially on Saturdays. But the winter market goes on all year round. So once the summer market's over, the winter market takes over on Saturdays at the senior center. And you really are missing opportunities if you don't show up on Saturday.
Yes, we have the market on Saturday, and it opens at 9 o'clock and goes until 2, but I suggest you come early because all the fresh vegetables sell out really fast. But we do offer, there's lots of people making really great, fast, healthy meals that you can take and go. We've got the chili every week going. We make paninis. We've got another person out there making tamales. We've got Dan with the sauerkraut, which we put on the paninis. And sometimes fresh baked goods, like if you're into croissants and stuff like that. So
yeah, you never know what you're going to find, and so sometimes the vendors change. They don't always come every week, for example, or there's less or more fresh produce available. But we are going to talk to Steve McClaskey right now, and he has. Luckily, he's always the constant, right? So always there, always. Yeah, it was. What was it? It was like 10 below Saturday or something, and you were there.
I was there.
Right.
We had fresh produce.
Yeah.
I
I just want to ask this question. Where did those cherry tomatoes come from that I bought from you? Because they were okay. They're not summer cherry tomatoes, but they were still amazing. And I used them with the microgreens that you sold also. How in the heck are you growing those?
They're growing in a greenhouse. I had given up on them and stopped harvesting them and went in to pull the plants out last week, and there were these cherry tomatoes still on the plant. They had been green, the week before, 2 weeks before the last time we harvested. Mm-hmm. And I tasted one, and it was not bad. So I just went through and harvested what was there.
Right, fantastic.
I won't have any next week because now the plants are on the compost pile. But
okay, well, that hurts me, but that's okay. Because one of the things that you do have every week are your microgreens, and you have all kinds of different ones, right? What do you have?
We have five kinds of microgreens. Mm-hmm. We have sunflower and peas and broccoli, arugula, and daikon radish microgreens. Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to know a question. I have a question.
Yes.
What's the difference between a microgreen and a sprout?
That's a really good question. So, a sprout, probably everybody's familiar with alfalfa sprouts. The way you make alfalfa sprouts is you put the seeds in a place where you can keep them moist and in the dark, and you just constantly keep them moist, and they grow. After 3 or 4 days or a week, however long it takes. And so when you eat them, you eat the whole thing, roots and all. It's never been in any soil, and that's a sprout. Okay. Sprouts are considered a high hazard food as far as foodborne illness goes because they're in the dark, constantly moist and warm. And that's an ideal environment for bacteria to grow. Microgreens, you plant them in soil. Put them in trays, flats, and we use our compost for the soil. And so we put them in the soil. Most of them, we cover them lightly with more compost. And so they grow up normally with their roots down in the compost. And during the summer, we were harvesting them after 10 days. Now it's colder, they're growing more slowly. We're harvesting them after about 20 days. And so we cut them off just above the soil line, and you're eating the top of the plants, not the roots. And they're not, they're growing in the greenhouse, normal conditions, so there's not the danger of growing excess bacteria. Mm-hmm.
It's really fascinating. I want to tell you something that of course, it's just an individual circumstance, but it's really interesting to me based on what you just said. My wife is allergic to sprouts. If she has a sprout, she'll have an allergic reaction. She loves your microgreens. So very interestingly, in terms of the difference in how those things are grown, even though they're both very young, essentially seedlings, one gives her a very strong allergic reaction, and the other she absolutely loves. So the soil, to me, is the key ingredient there. It's the water and the soil together, as opposed to just some water in a dark environment. So yeah.
So the microgreens are grown in, with light and just like a normal green vegetable. and they're a little bit older than a sprout. They're growing longer than a sprout. There have been some tests. The USDA and others have done tests on the nutrition of microgreens, and they're extremely nutritious, very much more vitamins and phytonutrients than the more mature green plants.
What I really love about them too is that here we are in the middle of winter, and it seems to be that it's really something that I feel is much easier to digest. The microgreens as a salad, to foil, like Alura was saying, as a little foil against maybe a heavier item on your plate, and it's really fun because it's really fresh, easy to make, and very simple and delicious, fresh with fresh lemon, for example, and some olive oil and whatever else you care to put with it. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and there's a variety, so whatever taste you like. If you like something spicy, we have arugula and radish. If you want something mild, sunflower is my favorite. It's a very unique taste. I also like peas a lot.
I like to mix them all together, so it's great. Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay. Hey, Dan, come on up and tell us a little bit about. Dan's always good to talk to because he's always great for experimenting on things. So yeah, there we go. So I think I like that. Okay. By the way, Julie, can you check out when the next show is for me and let me know? All right, first Tuesday in February. Thanks so much. Dan Gorman.
How you doing, Steve?
I am doing really well. And what did you bring to show off?
So I have two beautiful effervescent probiotic hot sauces today.
Probiotic hot sauce.
Yeah.
All right. What does that mean?
Okay, so I have the easiest recipe of the night. So not quite relevant to the season, but at the end of the season, when you have your vegetables, your leftover stuff, you can just 2 teaspoons of salt per quart, put all your vegetables in there with water.
And when you say you have leftover vegetables, these are vegetables from the garden or what?
Mostly peppers.
Okay.
You could do pepper. I like to do peppers, garlic, onions, and even carrots. Okay. Or just whatever you want. I mean, you can make hot sauce out of pretty much anything. Okay. And you just let it sit and ferment for however long, at least a few days.
So what was the recipe one more time?
2 teaspoons of salt, usually Celtic sea salt or natural salt, per quart of water.
Okay.
And you just let it sit, and it'll ferment, and it'll get all bubbly.
Okay, and the vegetables are covered by the water?
Yeah.
Do you have to put any weight in it or on top of them?
Maybe a cabbage leaf just to be safe.
Okay,
But
so
it's so vigorous that nothing's going to grow on it. Okay. It's like kombucha, or like it looks like champagne or something, Okay. But then you grate it up and...
Wait, how long are we waiting now?
I mean, at least a few days until it's all... I like it to be bubbly. Like you never had a bubbly hot sauce. But all hot sauces are aged, generally. Tabasco's a few years old. Louisiana hot sauce is a few years old. But you can make your own, I think, better. And, I mean, you can just... I like to put a lot of onions in it or whatever. But this is a very special one because these are all peppers from Africa. And peppers originated from South America, so it took a long time for these to be cultivated into these flavors. And this one is mostly made with a pepper called fatale, which is just...
Fatale?
Yeah.
That sounds a little scary, actually. I could kind of leave the E off and just make it fatal.
Yeah.
So.
It's very hot, but not as spicy as, say, the Carolina Reaper, which is probably the second hottest pepper in the world now, because now there's one's called Dragon's Breath. But I've yet to see that one. And jalapenos are plenty spicy, so I don't know where they're going with this. Eventually, it's just going to hurt people. But I love this pepper because it's kind of like a citrusy habanero. So it's got the level of spice of a habanero, but kind of like a tropical kind of. And then this one is made solely with Carolina Reapers. Oh, so it's dangerous.
Wait, so okay, make sure that everybody heard that. Okay, so that if you try this afterwards, Green Building Supply, KRUU, Steve Boss, everybody else, we have no responsibility, for this. Okay, there we go. Or Dan Gorman, right? It'd be great to add into the chili if you want a little bit of heat, but I think this one might be a little safer. So we'll see.
I got this. I brought it in the jar so you could kind of maybe just get a little spoonful, just a touch, because
just to taste it.
It is hot.
All right. And regularly you have your Bubbling Brine Brothers products, right?
Yes, sauerkraut and kimchi. We have them at Hy-Vee here in Fairfield and Everybody's, and we're in Bread Garden, Lucky's in Iowa City, Hy-Vee Waterfront.
Was this a commercial or?
Yes.
The FCC thanks you. So.
Yeah, and that's a similar process. I mean, they're both lacto-fermented vegetables, and super good for Agni. If you're talking about Ayurveda, I would say. I mean, it's just super good for you and super tasty.
I have to say, the Bubbling Brine Brothers probiotic fermented vegetables are awesome. They're terrific. They really are. Really enjoy them a lot. And your pickles are really great.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to get those in stores next year. It was hard to do this year because just of the variety that I got of them, but next year we're really going to try and make them in stores.
Okay. Thanks so much. All right, so you can find Dan sometimes at the Winter Farmers Market. You can find Alura at the Winter Farmers Market. And you have all kinds of other stuff. You do all kinds of crackers and all kinds of things, right?
Yes, we do flaxseed crackers. We have a chili non-queso flaxseed cracker, a pesto cracker, and just an Italian tomato cracker. But I also do mouth care products because I'm a firm believer that also a lot of problems start in the mouth. And so if we can just keep our mouths clean by using coconut oil, I make basically a tooth powder and I suggest mixing it in coconut oil and then brushing with it. The tooth powder is absolutely free of any preservatives because it doesn't need any. It just has a little bentonite clay, some birch xylitol, some Celtic sea salt, water extracted baking soda, and neem, tea tree, organic tea tree. And then organic essential oils, 5 of them, rosemary, cinnamon, clove, lemon, and eucalyptus radiata. And that is, a tiny little bit of stevia just to get over the bite of the name. But you just mix it in some coconut oil and it's amazing. And then definitely get a tongue scraper. Everyone needs to be scraping your tongue. Get rid of that extra buildup, that undigested food that goes back into the bloodstream over and over again if you don't. So.
Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk. How are we doing here?
Just a heads up, this is now trying to get the visual. I wish.
Well, it'll be finished soon.
Well, let's hope so, because it was supposed to be very soon.
It's not a problem.
Because of the big amount that we have, and this I don't have. I have a fire kind of thing, flame, not the electric one.
It's not a problem. These people are very patient, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but it will be really tasty. I hope.
Good. So let me ask you, because Alura brought this up. I know cleaning the mouth is also very important in Ayurveda, right?
It is because the food, the digestion of the food starts even before eating, and as I mentioned earlier, when we start doing the grace, sitting on the dining table, there's where it starts. And because the mouth has a lot of salivary glands, and the chewing the food is so very important, so they all have to be clean. And the oral health, we cannot stress more about oral health. Digestion really starts before even ingesting the food, and mouth being the first part of the alimentary tract, you have to really take time to chew the food and clean the tongue. That is why Ayurveda encourages shushing oil, sesame oil, gargling oil in mouth as a part of daily routine. What we do is we take around half cup of cured sesame oil and put it in mouth and shush it. It is very good for gum health and also tooth. So that is the Ayurvedic regimen. Every day, like after brushing teeth, you are supposed to do that. That's a part of Dinacharya, Ritu, daily routine we call it. And also scraping the tongue to help the taste buds to work better.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dinesh Gyawali. It was a pleasure. Can't wait to taste all of this.
Let's hope so soon.
Yeah, it'll be great. The next live show, Tuesday, February 6th, here at Green Building Supply. And we hope that we can see you there, or you can watch it on the Fairfield Media Center channel. This has been Great Taste on KRUU 100.1 FM, the solar-powered voice of Fairfield, Iowa. I'm Steve Boss, your host every week for 60 minutes of delicious radio on KRUU.
and taste. Sweet. Sour. So good to taste.